Hello, my name is Emma Berry and I'm an e-learning developer and instructional designer. And in this short video series, I'm taking you through some storyline hints and tips to hopefully speed up your creation of e-learning and iron out any bugs that you might be having with storyline. And today we are going to have a look at transparent buttons. Now, this might feel a bit niche, but if you're like me, I like to produce custom navigation for my e-learnings, and I tend to stick to quite a simple, kind of clean, modern look with most of my e-learnings. And this means I don't tend to really like using the inbuilt buttons within Storyline, just as they feel a bit clunky and a bit chunky sometimes. I often opt for icons like this, such as this X for close, as it's a universal symbol and can sit nicely in the top of my pop-up box. Now, the problem with using just simple icons like this one is that they're sometimes not very accessible. So let me show you what I mean. So if I move my mouse over and position it right on my X shape here, you can see that I get my hand icon, which indicates that this is a button. But as soon as I move my mouse even slightly off, it switches back to the arrow. So what this means essentially is the user needs to be really precise in where their mouse is in order to activate and close this pop-up box. Now, for most able-bodied people, this wouldn't be an issue, but if you've got people that perhaps struggle using a mouse, have any kind of disability, and even those using a trackpad on a laptop where the sensitivity of it can be a little bit unpredictable, this can actually be a bit of a pain. It's not too much of an issue with this one because we've got quite a big icon, but often I like to make the icon smaller so that it's kind of not really in the way of the text and isn't drawing the learner's eye to it. So how can we get around this? Well, first, before we get into it, I will say that yes, you can use light boxes for this instance. But if I'm working with a slide with multiple pop-ups, I don't tend to like to use a light box for every single pop-up, just because that means recreating multiple slides. And light boxes aren't as customizable in terms of how they appear when they pop up compared to adding layers. Okay, so if we close preview and let's just delete our icon. What we can do is insert a button. So if we go to our insert tab and find button, and what I'm going to do is just insert a rounded rectangle button. And if we put it in our top right of our pop-up window, like so. And then the next thing you want to do is add your icon. So if we find our icons from the top left, click on the drop down arrow and you get presented with a really good range of selections. So if I navigate down to feedback, we can see that we have the X symbol. So if I click on this one, you can see it has inserted a little X for me in the center of my button. So I'm just going to change the color of this to dark blue. And I want to make this just a little bit bigger. Now, to do this, you don't increase the size of your button, instead increase the size of the text. So if I go up to home and find my font edit options and click on the size drop down, I'm going to increase this to, let's go for 20. That's a nice size. And there we go. You can see it's actually increased the size of the icon now. So we click back on our button and go to format. The final thing that we kind of want to do is get rid of this blue background and any outline, and that will give us that transparent icon effect. So if I click on button fill and drag the opacity all the way down to 100%, and button border, click no outline. And as you can see, we've recreated that same effect as having our X icon, but we've created a bigger radius around the icon to activate the trigger, meaning that the learner doesn't have to have their mouse directly on that X shape. Somewhere just around the radius or the vicinity of that shape will be good enough. So let's just add our trigger in. So hide the layer when the user clicks button 1. And if we just preview this slide, you can see that now my hand icon appears outside of this X icon, but just close enough that you know that it's linked to this X here. And if we click close, there we go. So some other ways that this functionality might be useful is if you are creating custom navigation. So for example, if I had a home icon, you can find this in the drop-down menu, it's at the top. If you also wanted to create next and previous buttons using arrows, so we've got arrows here. And you can also add text to this as well. So if I click on edit text and typed in next and change the color so we can see it. There we go. So you can use this to create custom navigation on your slide that doesn't use the inbuilt player navigation and still maintain this kind of nice, simple, modern aesthetic as well. But most importantly, it makes your buttons accessible. And there we go. It's a really, really great way to fully customize your e-learnings in the way that suits your design choices.